Hi, it's Bevan Bird with AIArtGodMode.com, and in this video I'm making some art just for fun, and it's of a girl riding a jet ski or a sea-doo, and a dolphin jumping over her. So you can see an example here. And the art will be probably based on a hand-drawn sketch, and it's going to be based on a photo of my friend Amanda. This is just an early render here. We'll go back to the beginning, okay, and I will show this sketch. All right, so it's just a liquid ink pen sketch on paper, and in the future I will do this with unlined paper. So this image here is just a cutout, a clipped part from an image. I took a picture with my phone and then cut it. I edited on the computer and cropped it, and then just copied and pasted it into the chat. Yeah, direct message chat with the Midjourney bot. You could also save an image and then drag it into here, just like this. Well, now the image isn't there. Yeah, there we go. You can just drag it in like that. Then you have to hit enter and it will send it, but I'm not going to do that here because I've already cropped it, and then I just copied and pasted from like in Paint and pasted it in. But you could crop the image on your phone already in the first place, right? So you could also have it there. And I used doc scan and scanned it, and this is what I got using black and white, because you can see, well, yeah, you can see here that there's red lines. But then the lines showed up, so that's not good, because it'd be better if they didn't, but that's why I say it will be unlined paper in the future. Okay, so here what I've used for an initial prompt is design and render a scene in which a beautiful young woman is riding a jet ski or sea-doo, and a dolphin is jumping over her happily. We can see an expanse of water and a distant shore with mountains in the background and sun in the sky. So I was just describing what I sketched here, and I put that in, and here's what we got. So 4 examples. But every time that you put the same prompt in, you will get different examples, right? You can have like an infinite number. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, put in a different prompt, right? Write it differently, because you can say what kind of style you want and stuff like that. All kinds of things. The way you describe it makes a lot of difference, and even a small change can make a large change to the results. So I thought, oh, like, is that a shark? Or like, it's way higher up, it looks like it's farther away, but that one might be the closest, although this is better with a blue sky. It's a different time of day over here. And you could, if you like this, you could use it and then have the dolphin be added in. And it's also strange here in this one, it's like the sea-doo she's riding is also a dolphin, so it's a combination of both. Okay, so what I did is just do a variation of this one. I may have done that once or twice, maybe just once. So yeah, that's here. So variations of that one, there you see that. And so now we can see here a dolphin, it's over her and it's curved, but it is in the distance, because if it was close, it would be, if it was actually over her at this point, at the same distance from us to her, and the dolphin is, then it would be bigger, right? Unless it's a really small dolphin. So I think it's like it's above her, but it's behind as well, and we want it to be over top. Ideally, it should be over top, so it will be bigger. So it would be actually jumping over her, not just jumping in the distance behind her, because that would also mean that it would be higher up if it's farther away, which wouldn't make as much sense for it to be so high too, right? So we can do variations of this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3. Yeah, right. So I turned off remix mode so that I can just click the button, and it makes it quicker. But if I wanted to edit the prompt while doing variations like that, then we'd turn on remix mode, so we have a way of changing it. So I'll just show that right now, for example. Okay, so I'm turning remix mode back on because it was just off. So we'll go back there again. See this one here. So now I get the option to change the prompt. I can just click this button, right? But it means I have to click twice and it takes longer. So you can generate more variations the other way, just by choosing which ones you make variations of. But if you think that your prompt isn't ready yet, if you're fine-tuning the way the prompt is written, or you want to experiment with different things, then the remix mode is really useful. Alright, so what should we change? Well, let's look at the dolphin being right directly above her. Okay, now it doesn't say how high the dolphin is. That's another thing I did. I'll tell you, because I did a couple of things before I started the video, and then I'll show you that. So these what we've been looking at here was not based on the sketch yet. You'll see that the one that's based on the sketch with the same prompt looks different because it's like an illustration. Okay, so I'll just run that. I'm not really going to change it. All I did was fix the typo in that word. Okay. So here we have the first, yeah, we'll go back to the beginning. So there's the sketch. All right. So what I did is put this prompt in just to run it, just to show what would happen if you just used the prompt. And like I like number 4, right? So we'll upscale that. We can make variations of it and see what happens. We can add the dolphin. We can also say that the dolphin is only a few feet above her head. See, because when I put in the prompt with the link to the image, right? So you upload the image, you put it in here. Once it uploads, you'll get this post. Click on that, then click this link, open in browser, and then get the URL from the address bar in your browser and cut that or copy that. And so that's how I did it. I paste that in. See, here's the notes. I paste in that link and I add it to the prompt. So that gives you this. And then when I made a variation, when I started to change the prompt, I added the dolphin is just a few feet over her head. That's because of what we saw, right? So this is the first one, and yeah, that looked like it was high up or far away. And these are what happened using my sketch. But in the sketch, I just drew it right there, right above her and right close by and all that, right? So it's really close. I would have actually done it farther up, I think, but it's like, I think I may have already drawn this shore, so there wasn't much space. So maybe it should have been really a little higher up. Okay, so this is what resulted though. But remember, if it doesn't do what you want, you can just run it more times too. So re-roll the same prompt. Although we may want to say that with our new prompt, which is I added something. The dolphin is just a few feet over her head. Now we can also say that it's directly above her. So we'll redo that and put that prompt in. So you notice that if you're in remix mode and you do the re-roll, notice it also let me change the prompt at the same time too. So it's not really re-rolling. Well, it is, but I mean, we're changing it, whatever. So if you took remix off though, then you would just, when you just hit that and re-roll it, it's just re-rolling the same prompt, right? Okay, so the new version of it will be like this, and we'll fix that typo. Okay, I'll make it bigger though. Okay, so the new prompt will be like that, and then the dolphin will be directly above her, jumping over her, right? A dolphin is directly, yeah, I guess I'll just say directly above her while jumping over, okay? And just a few feet over. I'll leave it like that, just as a slight change. Yeah, so basically I wanted to show you that, to show you how I actually started it, which was we put in that URL, right, with the prompt. And that's how it started, which is how we got these ones right here. Okay. And we're not really getting lines, right? So that's good, because the lines in the sketch on the lined paper aren't ruining it in this case, right? I don't think we're really getting lines. It might be a little bit in the clouds, but I think it's ignoring the lines and just following my idea of the sketch. But see, that's like riding a dolphin. We don't want her actually riding a dolphin, but just riding a jet ski or some weird little boat, um, and a dolphin like flying overhead way up here, and a couple of dolphins here, and a seagull. So, you know, it's something like this, but this is crazy. But we have to change the style, right? You got to say what style you want. We could just turn it into a photorealistic, instead of being um, an illustration like this sketch. But you could also remove the link. So you could use the link to start it and then take it off. So there's a lot of things we could do. So I'm just sharing a few ideas. All right, and we could combine one of these, something that it rendered without the sketch. You could then combine that with the sketch also, and then take the sketch back out, or put one of these images in, like that one, right, number 3, which we've made variations of. And well, I turned remix mode back on. Okay, so what we'll do is use the latest. Yeah, so what I'm doing there is just putting in the latest prompt that we have when I'm changing this thing here. So it's variations of 3 again, but with the latest prompt, just to try that. We'll upscale it, and then we can kind of use that image. Although the thing is, we've already made variations of it, so they're down here. So you can just pick whichever one's best. If there is a better one here, otherwise go back to the earlier one. Okay, there's a dolphin. It's looks like a bit away. It's not directly over her. It's behind. It's in the distance a bit. That one's a bit weird. This one's totally weird. It would need help. So yeah, we can just kind of compare this one with what we made it from, the parent. So that's this one here. I'd still go with that. Anyway, we've upscaled it, so let's see that. And I think there's some more. It looks like with all this, we actually have more, so we can take a look at them. Yeah, that's variations of that other one with the blue sky. No dolphin, but yeah, she's riding a dolphin. So it's a dolphin jet ski or sea-doo. It's combined. You can see the fin here. So it's morphing. It's got the handlebars. It's also got a fin. That's a jet ski, but then you can see like a kind of a fin back there, and then here the mouth, yeah, there's a mouth there too, and here and there, and this mouth opening up, I can even see teeth in it. It's a combination of the two, so it's not really jumping overhead. But if we mix in the sketch, right, so I can use the latest prompt. That's just got the sketch, an image of the sketch there, and the latest prompt. Okay, so we can try it that way. And we've got some here. There's a dolphin. We want one that looks like a dolphin, like that. Both of these are like a dolphin. What we got to do actually is get photos of a dolphin and then compare them to, because you don't want like the fin to make it look like a shark. So I guess I'll just use this one here. And you can see that this is an earlier prompt, right? So I can change it to the latest prompt, which is this, but you know, without the sketch. Uh-oh. Yeah, that wasn't the right way to do it there. Because when I selected all, it was selecting everything back here rather than in the little window. That's why when I pasted, it went in here, which wasn't what we wanted because I was actually pasting it in there. Okay, so we'll do that, and I'll also try it this way. It's a different variation. See, we have to be in we have to be in remix mode in order to do it this way, in order to change the prompt when you're doing a variation. So that because I'm in that mode, I might as well try it and see what happens. Okay, we got these ones. There's a dolphin. Yeah, this dolphin is close by and it's at a different angle, like going in a different direction. This could work too, but maybe less realistic. Okay, so we'll do variations of those. Maybe we should update the prompt. I mean, I had it typed in wrong the first time, right? You can see right there with the spell check. Okay, so we'll just copy this prompt and put it in there on both of those. What about 4 though? Well, they could all potentially be good, right? Yeah. Right. And so also I'm reminded another um, thing that we might want to try, right, would be to change the illustrations. So because when I first started, I said design and render this scene, right? And that worked because it was ignoring the sketch, right? We didn't put that in yet. I just said design and render this scene, and that basically worked. Here's one. So you could just re-roll it, but we don't have to use the same prompt. We could use our latest prompt. So in other words, all we're doing is going imagine this prompt. We're just imagining that only. So that's going back to the very beginning where I just imagine it and I'm not even using the sketch. So, because my point there is we only did it once, right? And we got these 4 examples, and that one was already potentially good, but I'm thinking more with a blue sky. Well, then we can just update the prompt, right? You can just change it, be more specific. So anyway, we can put that prompt in multiple times and we'll get more variations. And like how far away do you want her to be, right? You want a close up on the face or like whatever. Different kinds of shots or like telephoto. Um, you can say that. And do you want it to be photorealistic or oil painting, watercolor, or some other kind of thing, impressionist, or something else, any kind of style, as well as combining styles together or referencing specific artists or doing the same thing but in combination. Right. And so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, here when I used that same prompt, that's what we got, right? I think in Midjourney 5 or 5.1. We'll see. Okay, it's in version 5.1 right now. All right. So you could see what happened when I made them with this sketch the first time, and it came up with a kind of illustration. So that's back here, right? So then what if we then say we want it to be photorealistic rather than an illustration like this? And if that doesn't work, then what would happen if we then removed the image link, but we've based it on one that was rendered using the image link in the first place. So I guess I'll just show that. Like we kind of have one here. Like yeah, I mean this is a jet ski or sea-doo that's combined with a dolphin, so it's not really a dolphin jumping over. There's one there, but it's too far away, and this isn't really a jet ski. It's something else, almost like a dinghy, although it may be a little tiny boat and it's got like a steering wheel. I don't know what that is. So then this is the closest, but the thing is maybe we needed to generate more of these, right, in the first place. So we'll re-roll it, but using, yeah, we'll re-roll it, but we'll do this with an updated prompt in there. I'm leaving the link, which is that's the short link for the sketch. Okay, so I got that, and there's the short link of it. All right. So yeah, we might as well put that in multiple times and see what we get and pick one of them. Well, for example, this one. So if I do variations of that, right, in remix mode, I can change it. So, I mean, I can change the prompt. So then I guess I would use the latest prompt, but take the image out. Well, we can leave the sketch in, but we're going to change it and say we want it photorealistic, right? So we're going to use the latest prompt. All right. It says like design and render a scene. Now it did look pretty real, kind of pretty realistic in the first one without the sketch. So that's fine. It's probably fine to say it this way. I'm just going to say in photorealistic style. Yeah. So a scene. All right. Well, that's the only change I'm making to it. So we're going to see if that works. And we're going to try that with different ones. So we could try it with the best one that we get. So the idea here is that we're going to try to change the style that we get when it has that image reference in it. Now you could also have multiple image references, right? So like say this one here and the sketch, which is what we'll try. So we have upscaled that, right? Number 3, no. Now that's okay though, because I've made variations of it and I can upscale one of those, which I have done already here at number 3. So this one right here, we should see one that looks like that. Okay, and you can see that on your profile and just look at your latest upscales. So I'm going to load that there and be able to do that. See, that's where it already is. So once it loads, it should be there. Okay, so yeah, scrolling down, we'll see it. These, I mean, that's a dolphin. That's not a jet ski. So she's on a dolphin, and that's kind of like a dolphin, and there's a dolphin jumping over here, and this thing is combined with one, but you see it's not so happy. Well, dolphins probably don't want people to ride them. Someone who took a great picture of a dolphin, and I asked if I could use it in the art, and we will be using it. So that's going to come later, just like the girl or woman. There's an actual photo and we're going to base it on that, but for now we're just starting from a sketch or from an idea, as I showed at the beginning. So in here, yeah, she's right. The person who took the picture of the dolphin said we don't want to show people riding a dolphin because it's like subservience, master and servant. So we want to show that we're equal, or that we're learning from the dolphins and being inspired by them. So I thought that having the dolphin jump over her on the jet ski is good. That's better because then it's like the dolphin can be inspiring her. It's jumping over. And yeah, and you don't really want to have people on jet skis around dolphins either because they're irresponsible. Okay, now we'll move on to the actual art, the depiction of it. Okay, so in this one, she's riding a dolphin, and we're not going to publish this art, right? And there's like a boat or a jet boat or something, or a jet flying over top with somebody in it. And you could change this into like Mobius style, and then maybe that thing will become a bird because it has like people flying, like riding these flying birds that are also planes, potentially. So I'll just say by Mobius up there. Yeah, we can leave it the same and don't change it. Well, that shouldn't matter, right? That part really shouldn't matter, but it can, because I've had a thing where I wrote depict, right? It's like professional whatever style art depicting whatever we show, right? But I actually spelled the word depict wrong, just accidentally. And it worked better when the word was spelled wrong than when I fixed it. For some reason, because when I fixed it, everything was going wrong after that. But I don't know why that is, but because I had it spelled wrong, and that's how I started it, and that art was all right. When I fixed the typo, it caused it to become bad, but that means I would have had to do a lot more variations. And so I had to kind of leave the typo in for it to work, and that was weird. But it's an isolated incident. Design and render a scene. Yeah, right. In the style of or by, you could say by him, or in the style of him. That's just two ways to say the same thing. So I guess we'll just show both. Yeah, so I just pasted it in. Yeah. a scene by Mobius or in the style of him. There, you can see the latest upscales here. Right, so like that one, maybe that was probably what I was talking about. So we can use either of these, but the tail at the back is messed up on that one, so we could use this one. The color's interesting on the Dolphin there, and this is good, kind of good, right? Okay. See right here we have this, so I'll just copy the image address, right? Because if I want to reference this image and another image, we can do that. So what do we have? Well, we have like this, for example, like whatever's closest. So actually on a jet ski, maybe, right, with a dolphin over top, and here there's two of them. We probably have something better than this though now, because I haven't looked at all of them, and there's a whole bunch of posts below, right? So here we're saying, you know, we got one image reference, which is that, and the other one is the sketch, and that's the prompt there. So I will use the latest prompt, like do this, and then the dolphin is close and just a few feet over her head, and it's a blue sky and all that. So I'm gonna try that, and it's photorealistic style. So we could try that, and then we could kind of just do the same thing and put different styles into it, just to experiment. But it's really early on at this point, so we don't know how well that will work. So we don't know if we would want to try that with different things. Yeah, I'm making a variation of that one specifically. That's okay. Okay. I will try another one. We'll do like an oil painting. Okay, so yeah, let's just like, yeah, I guess a scene as an oil painting, maybe. Design and render a scene as an oil painting. Okay. Yeah, so we can even make that as a prompt, right? We can just imagine that. And the same with this one, which is the photorealistic style. All I did there was change the style, then oil painting. So we could try lots of things, but I'm just gonna try a couple of things to compare them. Yeah. Okay. And then I guess maybe even another way could be like with a palette knife or something. We could say like like so, award winning, yeah, I guess stunning. All right, stunning, award winning, epic professional oil painting. Yeah, well, that's spelled wrong. Okay, so that one will get fixed. I'm not going to be a stickler there with that. I'm not going to copy the thing again. I'm just going to simply replace it there. We did a variation of one of them, so we'll go back up there and do that one again too, because of how it was spelled wrong. Okay, so an award-winning epic professional oil painting. Okay, well that's another way to do it. The painting in which, so it shows this, or depicting a scene in which, so we could do it like that. Because really what I was thinking of doing here was talking about a palette knife style. Maybe we'll just do that here. Okay, I'm making it up as I go. Alright, try that. So we're gonna have to look at the outputs that are coming out of this to see what's happening, and what works better than the other. So remember we wanted photorealistic style. So this is just in a straight imagine. It's not made of a variation of anything before, but it does have these two image prompts into it, and one is the sketch, and one is a a rendering. It was like one of the things that we made like this. Okay, so this is what's coming out of that, and then you could also take the sketch out if you want. Here she is like turning a bit. She's like riding the jet ski, like leaning, turning a bit. There's the dolphin jumping over there. Here it's almost like it's the dolphin's going in the same direction as her. And here it's jumping over because she's going this way and it's jumping over, crossing her path, and very close by, maybe slightly in front. So pretty good. So yeah, this one they're going along together, and somehow the dolphin is way up there. If it was beside her, it would make more sense because they can be riding along together, and I don't know how she's out of the water like that, like flying also. But yeah, they could be flying along together, or she can be cruising along, and the dolphin can be can be flying, leaping out of the water, and so at the moment flying beside her. So we could describe it differently, and we could just do a variation of this and make it change like that, right? So I'll just kind of upscale these and then do that. Okay, so this one, make it go beside. So here it was talking about riding and then dolphin jumping over. This is directly above her and jumping over. Okay, so I have to rewrite that. Alright, the dolphin is directly over. Yeah, okay, so she's riding, yeah, so cruising along, yeah. Okay, so riding a jet ski or sea-doo, cruising along at a good clip, and yeah, her dolphin, her best dolphin friend is flying beside her, right? Jumping out of the water. Is flying along beside her while jumping, leaping out of the water. Okay. Okay, so her best dolphin friend is happily jumping, flying. It's happily flying along beside her while leaping out of the water. Okay, so it's close by. It's very nearby. Yeah, I'm gonna say that it's very close. Okay. And then I'll put it in the tropics. Okay. Distant shore. Okay, now maybe it's not distant, maybe it's not super far away, maybe it's closer than that, but I'll start with that. Okay, so anyway, I think that this one worked pretty well, right? So when we did this one, whatever that is, this is the link to it right here. Okay. Yeah, so we can kind of look through them and find it. Like, you got the two dolphins overhead thing, right? That's because it started from this one, and I did variations of that. So let's take a look at what we've got and see, just kind of look through them and see if we can make something from that. Yeah, so there's this other one. So this, right. Except that we want it to be a jet ski or sea-doo rather than a dolphin. Here it's combining with a dolphin. That's why I started with something like that. Yeah, I started with a reference image, something like this. But we could also use a different one and combine it. You could also have, you could say like put this image in. We actually use a different one. It's none of these. It's an earlier one, like that, I think, or maybe it was a different one. But we could actually put in this image as a reference and this, or like this. Like this one may look slightly similar to her one. It's not exactly the same, but like it's based on a video. There's actually a video of Amanda, and then I've taken screenshots out of it, and then that's going to get in there. So this one might be slightly similar. I mean the kind of swimsuit thing, not the swimsuit. I mean the life preserver flotation thing. So yeah, you could put in multiple image references as examples and use those to influence it. So some with the blue sky and the other things, and some with a dolphin jumping over, and then it will mix that together. And even the sketch, but then you may have to take the sketch out. So when I put the sketch in, it's resulting in another sketch, but then you can make variations of it, right? And then you could also change the style. So let's see what we want to do with it. Yeah, so that's why I'm looking through them, because there's a lot of different options on what we could do. See, this is kind of backwards, right? Okay, now that dolphin's too weird up here, but this is pretty good for a sketch. Okay, so yeah, we do want to try something where we do a variation of the sketch and then we remove the image of the sketch. So it's still based it on one of these, but then take away the influence of that, because it's too simple. Like, because that's not what I want to actually show. That's not what I want to actually make. That's just to inform it of the relative position of each object, right? That's all. So I wanted to use that. It's a rough sketch, and it's showing an example of doing that. So we want to do that and see if we can use the sketch to inform it, the layout kind of. But you can see that each of these is all laid out differently, even though they're based on that sketch anyway. So that teaches us something from it. But at least we learn something from trying it also. Okay. Yeah, the Mobius thing, right? So we got to see that. So let's just take a look through here first before we just think of different ways to make variations or actually do them. Let's just take a look through first. Okay. And then of course, as you're doing that, you can just re-roll. So like as you're looking through, if you find ones that are really good, you can re-roll them, or just or just upscale the ones that stand out, because then here the upscales will show up, right? So it will filter it down from, the many different variations that we get. It will then be just the ones that we've selected. So you can see here that I've only upscaled 7 so far. All right. Okay, so we'll continue looking through. Look at all those, and they're high too. Right, that's one we upscaled, of course. and we would have used it as an image reference. And you could also do variations of it from here, of course. Okay. Yeah, so it's obviously a variation of something that was similar to this, that it was like this, because these are all pretty similar. So they're variations from something that was in kind of in this configuration or layout or design. Okay. I'll just upscale one of them. We got to look closely though to choose. Okay, obviously this is a different one. That was the one that I made variations of because we upscaled it and we did variations, which is how it made those right there. Okay, so yeah, because the description is so general, right, and so vague, it means that when you do variations, everything is getting randomized every time. See, beautiful young woman. Okay, right? Look at this. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, right? It's going to change every time, so there's going to be variations. If you want to pick hair color, pick, everything, you can just type it in. But then certain words will be banned, and it won't allow you to put those words or phrases in. But if it is allowed, then it will be okay. So you can just specify things. Things that you don't specify will be randomized whenever you do variations. Okay, obviously riding a kind of dolphin. Oh yeah, with the bar across here. So it's a combination. I don't know what this is. Well, it's kind of weird there too, but maybe that's the thing that connects and has the handle. Actually, here it's like her arm is super long, right? And so then here it might be an Android arm. I don't know. This part is weird. Here it's more normal, and the bar is very simple, but it's like a boat. It's a kind of weird thing that's a combination of them, right? We'll just skip over them. All right. So just looking at each one, it looks like a dolphin, so it's not really a jet ski. And there's the fin. It's like she's holding the fin, so it's really riding a dolphin. But you can see on the side, it's a jet ski. It's got that thing that sticks out a little bit along the edge, a rail or something. But that's a jet ski, right? And that's like part jet ski, part dolphin. And also here, it's a jet ski that's like a dolphin design a bit, and then this reflection, which wouldn't be there, and then a dolphin like a dirigible flying overhead. Right? So weird. But remember, at the beginning, you don't need it to become perfect or exactly what you want. You only want an approximation. Getting an approximation is good enough. That's why we created a sketch in the first place, was to show what we want to make. It's kind of like the layout. And if you don't have the sketch, it's all right, right? Because you can just say imagine this and get it to go. But then you need to generate enough variations to get something similar to it. And once you get something similar, then it's off to the races. You can then simply just make variations of them. You don't even need to edit the prompt. You can turn off remix mode and then just click variations on the good ones, and you'll curate the best and make more and more variations over time of different ones. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying you might want to, and you can keep and fine tune the style by, well, it's fine tuning everything in it as you're just clicking on the make variation, because it's doing random things each time, but you're choosing which ones that you select, right? You can do that, but then at a point where you have ideas about specifying it more, then you could turn remix mode back on. And then when you do variations of certain ones, like the best that you have so far, you can just type in your changes, so you get new prompts. And then when you don't want to change the prompt, fine tuning the prompt anymore, again, you would just turn off remix mode again. Because then when you're clicking make variation of this or upscale that, make variation of this one and that one, make 4 variations of this one, make 1 of that or whatever, because this one's better, so I'll make more variations of that. You can just do that quickly because you just click the button. right? It's easy. If you're in remix mode though, then it's slower because of that process there. So you would turn remix mode off so you can run quickly. Okay, so number 3. Yeah, so here I was doing a variation, not an upscale. And also it's just using that prompt, which isn't our latest one. But we have different prompts because it depends if the dolphin's jumping over her to the side like that, or if it's actually running along beside her, which is a different variation. So depending what you want. So here we have it alongside. Um, okay, so with the dolphin alongside, it's a different um, whole stream of the thing, because what we were designing before was the dolphin jumping over it, right? So make a new file, and this is with the dolphin running alongside. But in the first one, it's the dolphin, yeah, riding jet ski, dolphin jumping over her. Okay. Right. Okay, so continuing on, reviewing what has been generated so far. There we go. Okay, and this was a while ago. This is before we said tropical, right? Yeah, because that's my point. We want to catch up by reviewing what we've already generated. So this is one of the early things that it made already, quite a while ago, and without even saying what style we want, right? Just by using design and render a scene with this. So that works pretty well as a good starting place. Okay, it's going along the same in the same direction, right? Make variation. Let's go to the, yeah, alongside one. Okay, so yeah, here we don't have it based on an image. We just have just the prompt, and I imagined the prompt, and that's how it did it, and it made the thing, and then we did of course we're doing a variation, or well, we don't know the whole path before because we could have done variations more than once, or we just did a variation once, or we just upscaled one of the ones that came from imagining that prompt, right? But we probably didn't base it on an image, although we could have before and then removed the image from it, but I don't think we did. I'm going to show you that because that's part of that's part of the process. But here I'm showing this one, right, and I'm doing a variation of it, but I'm saying that the dolphin is alongside, so then the dolphin will move, right? It will change to a different one. Yeah, and I don't think we have them really with it alongside yet. We've just started to say that we want that. But we may have them, we just, when we scroll down, right? We will see. Because we've started to input that, but we haven't looked at them yet. Alright, so she's riding a dolphin, right? I'll just skip over it. And then here she's riding a jet ski. And the dolphin is overhead, and there's the sun, right? So it's following the instructions. Okay. Yeah, and so you can see that she's in different positions also. And you could specify that. You could say that she's turning, banking hard to the left, or banking hard to the right, or whatever. You could explain it differently. It looks like there's something on top of the dolphin even on this one, which is weird. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so 2 and 3. 2 and 3. This is the prompt. I think, yeah, so it says that it's just a few feet over. Yeah, it's a pretty good prompt, right? I'll leave it the way it is. Yeah, so you can see that if you're not in remix mode, it's faster because you can just click that button and you wouldn't have to click again, and it's just a quicker process. You can also make more variations of the same one faster that way. So if we're not changing the prompt, we want to turn off remix mode. But if we're changing it, we want it to be on. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is a younger one. Yeah, and then you can specify the age, or you can base the person on a specific person, or a combination of people. Um, so as you can see, there's so many different variations or directions you could go that it's going. This is crazy, right? It's like flying the dolphin out of the water. That's kind of what I wanted to do in the first place. But the person with the photo of the dolphin doesn't want to show someone riding a dolphin, so then we're not really doing that. Uh, Not definitely not with her photo of the dolphin, right? Because that she says we don't want to show that because then it's like making the dolphin subservient. And this is a jet ski and a dolphin, right? Because there's a handlebar, right, and there's the rail and stuff, and the way. So that is actually both, and this is both too. There's a handlebar. Well, you could say there's a handlebar there too. So it may be a jet ski that's in the shape of a dolphin, but it's a thing that you can actually jump out of the water and fly with. And that one is actually a dolphin. Somehow she's still on it and hasn't slipped off, right? The balance. You can see the handlebar and stuff and this thing here. So it's like a jet ski. Anyway, it's a combination. So it's totally confused. But I will point out that the quality of what we're getting here is a lot better than what I got from Midjourney 3. When I went back, when I put images in and used that, because I was going to bootstrap a design and then bring it up to a newer version, what I was getting back then, yeah, definitely, of course, it's not nearly as good as this. Not as clear. Definitely not as clear or realistic. Uh, yeah. I mean, we could show them, right? I could go back and search for jet ski, maybe, or jet ski or sea. I think I had jet ski in, but the thing is, you might just see a bunch of pictures of boobs or big boobs because it's if we go back to the yeah, like it was in version 3, but then it's probably in a later version here. It's showing right there, version 5, right? But if you go back to earlier ones, okay, well, I guess those are the only upscales. I thought there was more though, but if you have grids though, see, this is a search, I mean, like a filter. We filtered it down, so we may be able to see those. There's going to be a whole bunch. Oh yeah, of course it'll be easier to look at the variations of the latest ones here, because doing this takes a long time to go through it, right? It's just showing the order we made them, and you can interact with them here and make the variations, right? That's easy. See, because do you want the person to be sitting upright, and in which position? Relaxed, like holding the bar with both hands, or one, right? See here, both hands. Here, just one. And like sitting back or like leaning forward or turning, banking hard or whatever, right? It's going to be different depending on which way you want it. So because we haven't specified, it's just random. So you can see it's either like this or like that, like this. It's different. It's very relaxed. This one though turning a bit, so that's better, more action, and the dolphin jumping over, right? So variations of this one here. What happens if the dolphin is flying? I mean, yeah, kind of flying, jumping along beside. Well, maybe we can try that too. So we will, because that is a good one right here. Yeah, so you can't like favorite it, but once you upscale this, then you can, right? So here we're looking at grids. We're on Midjourney, right? Home, profile, grids. I've done this search. You have to go up here and hit enter on that search. You have to do that if it hasn't paid attention to it, but you can see here that it is. I think there's another person in there, maybe a water skier or something. There's not. or I don't know how this, like how that's working there, or what this is. Like, this is kind of confused. But anyway, I don't know what's going on over there. It's really weird. And this jet ski is also a dolphin, right? So it's a mechanized dolphin, and that one's flying over. But then the water splashing here is very weird, right? Uh, and then this dolphin is almost like made of water. Anyway, it's just approximations there. And see, you can, the position is different. See how it's like crazy, maybe coming off of it. Like this is really weird. Um, but notice that each one of them is different. Sitting sideways and like sitting like this, and on this one, it's slightly different again. And the jet ski is designed like a dolphin here, so that you have to hold on to the fin instead of handlebars. It's got a fin, and it looks like a dolphin, but you can see that it's mechanical. It's pretty weird. Okay, so yeah, of course it will be easier to look at them like this. And you might as well go in order from the earlier part. But you can, since there's so many, we got to just find ones that catch our eye or like stand out as being the best, and then we can make variations of those or base something on them. Okay, that's kind of slow, right? Yeah, and then you click on it again, right? To actually look closely. It's just like, what is going on here? The what the? Okay, so anyway, my point of switching to the grid was so we could go back earlier because we had upscales only before, and then it just showed some of the latest versions. Yeah, but then why are those there, right? They're not jet ski. So we gotta hit enter on jet ski up here. So it's not just the latest grids, see new. It's the grids that are with the word jet ski in the prompt somewhere. So if we go back, you should be able to see the earlier ones. Okay, so I based them on a picture. You don't see the picture here that it's based on, or there are multiple images that it's based on. Okay, so I was making variations of different ones, and you can see yeah, it can morph, right? It can do weird things. Like you can see here that the person is the jet ski or whatever or it's advertising a realtor, or I don't know. What? Okay, that's weird, right? It just popped off again where it doesn't have that search again, so that's kind of weird. Anyway, you can actually see how it can morph, which is really weird. So it would be a lot better if it didn't, when I go back, if it actually stays on that page. Otherwise we'd have to go like this. But now it's jumped back to the beginning. Okay, so the interface has some bugs then. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully that will get improved, because then our experience will be better. I'll just continue recording there. So uh, getting back with these grids, so it means that if we click on them, it'll just kind of we'll lose our spot maybe, or maybe, yeah, it looks like we will, because I already clicked when I did one of these, and then I clicked to the next. It ended up not in this order and just went back, but it's partly because it's a search, right? But the problem also is that we clicked on one of these, so you can see back here with the version 3, I think these were in version 3, it makes a kind of illustration or a simple painting, see? And also back then you had to do remaster to get something in a higher quality. So it took more steps, right? Okay, yeah. So here, back to the beginning, right? So it's just grids. See, so at the beginning, you got to try to get it to actually show the whole scene in the right way. See, here, she might be sitting in a boat or a dinghy, but it's not even a jet ski, right? And so finally I could get someone on a jet ski. See, because it's based on a photo, but and she actually was on a jet ski, but then the AI was not really figuring it out. And so you can see what's really weird is how here this is, she's like sitting there, and there's these clothes, and maybe on a jet ski, or maybe in like a boat or a dinghy. But then you'll see how the clothes she's wearing, that you can see in this here, right? um, in this one, they actually start to change into a jet ski, which you can see, like, say over here. Take a look at this one. See how the one down in the bottom, right? See how the whole layout of it is changing. So that's kind of weird. Like, but that shows how they can morph from one thing to another. So you can see that here too. If you look at the four in this one, I just got to move my mouse over to the side so you can see them. There. So look at the upper right corner one there, right? So that is kind of weird. And same here, you'll see how the person, see, it's like there she is with the sunglasses on, right? And then the skin, okay? But then look at the lower ones. Now you have a person, yeah, both lower ones. Then you have a person on a jet ski, right? Like like reconfiguring it. Same over here. That's a person's face and the sunglasses, and then here, then you have the shoulder and everything, right, going down. But then if you look at this one, that's a jet ski, and the person's up here. And the same over there, like in the lower right one of this, you'll see that over there, right there. Okay, so that's what happens, right? Because it's based on a prompt that describes her riding the jet ski, and so it tries to show it, and it will change from one of these earlier ones, one of these, whichever one it's a variation from, it will change. So you can click, if we pick one of them, say that one, then you can see the parent that it was made from, right? So there, we're looking at that now. Right here, we're zoomed in a bit. You can see what I mean now, quite clearly. Like she's leaning, banking. Okay, there. See, different positions, another one. But it's also weird, but you have to do variations of it to carry it through that morph process into what it's becoming, right? So like, because that's just a face, but then another variation of it is like this. It's very different. So that means, it's a work in progress. It's not finished. You just have to keep going and making variations and choosing the right ones, or I mean, whichever. So what these were of is a variation of the upper left one in that thing there, because there's the parent, and they all look like this. So it was based on that one, because I figured this one might work because it's she's angled and banking, and the other ones are not. Like, maybe, yeah, this might work because she's sitting on a jet ski possibly, and that, I mean, that could be, but it could be in a boat. But it's too close. You can't really see the jet ski. And then here, is it really a jet ski? Like, who knows? I think it's version 3. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. So let's see what happens there, because we clicked on one and we pop back to this page. I think it's just going to be grids, but it won't even be using the search. It's just going to be the latest grids. So as you go down, you'll see, now we don't see the old jet ski ones. We just see previous grids, like my fuzzy blue, I think fuzzy blue gremlins and things, stacking firewood for me. Yeah, because I was stacking up some firewood yesterday, so then I thought about some gremlins doing it for me. So we'd have to say, no, we don't want fire. Like, no fire, no campfire. I started adding a negative prompt after that. Yeah, so you can see that it doesn't actually keep that search, right? Here we can go back, but then we'll waste time, so we won't do that. But by looking at it in this way, we can still see them, so you can get a quick overview of different variations, and then you can find the ones that work, or whatever's closest to the art that you actually want to make. And we could also, it can give you ideas, right? And you can refine your prompt. You can say, with this kind of sunglasses on, or doesn't have the sunglasses or whatever, right? so you could specify it. And then we would use that updated prompt when we're doing variations of the best ones. So like, you know, like this, for example, this might work. So if I hold down Control and click this one, then we have it in a new tab. So now we don't have the problem anymore. Because before, when I clicked it, it popped up. It's like almost like a different page. It's dynamic though, right? But then the problem was that it didn't work. Like if you click go to the next or go to the previous, it was not following the order of the search results and this filtering that we have here. So, but we can just, the workaround here is hold down Control and click on the ones that could work or that are actually like the vision or what I wanted to make, right? So I could do that through these action shot in here. This is like an action shot, and that, maybe that one. But it's an approximation. It will need work. But we can pick some like these, right? I thought that that was good. That's why I made variations of it. You can see that there, because there's this, and then there's more new ones based on it. So that it's further refining it. It's refining something, right? So we can just pick whichever ones we think are close that we might use. And like, what color of jet ski do you want, right? We could change it, or we can leave it up random up to whatever. And so you can see here with the white clothes and the red jet ski, that's based on these clothes like from earlier. It's based on this thing. So, and this, what's this based on? Well, you can trace back if you click on it and go to the parent and stuff also. But all those with the red and the white is based on a certain one from before. And here too, see how you got the white and then the red here in this in a certain shape as well. But anyway, the red on the white that we're getting on the actual jet skis, that came from a thing like this. See, it's coming from an image of actually simply the kind of a white shirt with a red swimsuit over it. And that's what that is based on. So you can see how that morphed there too. You can see here she's too close to the jet ski. It's not the right scale, right? But it was based on a thing like this. See, yeah, white shirt, red swimsuit. So that, and then that's where this jet ski comes from. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, there. She's sitting in a dinghy, or maybe it's a jet ski, but it looks like a little boat. And it's based on a thing like that. And there we have these others, but that's where I put two images, one next to the other. That's why we're getting two, because there was two different image photos, and I was saying like combine them, and it's trying to do that. Not com it That's because it's using version 5, I think, and so it put two, one next to the other. But if you go back to version 3 with the same input, then it would combine I think it would combine the two together as one thing. So that's an experiment we can do another time. So we'll just put that aside for that. I'll put that aside for that, and then like try. We may show that as another example, because it's good, and it's doing a photorealistic style here, right? Professional painting. It doesn't say photorealistic, okay, but it's doing it. It's doing it realistic. But I put a photo in, right, which it's basing it on. See, so there's two of them, but there was actually two images, and so here it's getting two next to each other, but we want them to combine together, which it did in this one. So yeah, but if we go back to an earlier version of Midjourney, like 3, it would combine them basically. But then we have to use that just to bootstrap the image, and then we can make variations of it, and we can change the version and then do a variation of the thing. So that's an experiment that it would be worth doing to show it. And I think I may have already showed you some results of doing that, because that's probably what you're looking at here. Because these things are done with a later version, right? Version 5, right? But they may be based on something that we made with. Okay, see, if I hold down Control and click this part, it doesn't really work. It does not do it the same as when we're here on the page showing all the grids. This is the profile. Um, yeah, hold down Control and click on them to open in a new tab. That's important. We'll do that, right? But we can also look at this and go back to the parent of it, and then go back to the parent of that, which was the one here in this. So now it doesn't have the red and white, right? So the red and white for these ones, that's what we just traced back. That didn't come from what we were talking about, but the other ones would. So like this, these ones might, right? They may come from something like this. See, you can see how it's like this or like that, and this is similar, and it's actually based on the same thing. But then it needs variations to finish, and there's like an extra face down there, but that might not matter, right? It can go away when you do a variation, as well as other flaws or strange things, right? So all we have to do is pick ones that we like, or like that are similar to the vision or any of the art, because we don't have to just make one thing, right? We can make multiple ones. So whichever ones we want to create, or to expand them into something. All right, and so yeah, this is what I mean. You can see here also how there's a person on a jet ski, right? And then in these ones here, you can also see that the lower, like down here, right? The lower left one is just a person. It's not really a jet ski, right? So it's like the view is changing in each of those. And so it was based on something like that. But if we go back, I can just click on one of these, and then we can trace it back also. And then you'll see that it probably came from a version 3 one like this. Probably that one there. But let's do it anyway though and see. So yeah, when we traced back from this one, parent whatever, or just parent, it got back to this one. And there's no parent of this one. So that was what we did with this one. And if we go from that one there and do the same thing, the parent of it, so we'll just trace that back and see how that kind of morphed, because it's just by selecting, right, which one, because you could upscale any of them or make variations of any of them. And I picked one of these and made a variation of it, maybe like this one, for example, or that, right, depending, because you'll get a different result depending which one you do. And I may have done both, but whichever one we did, it gave us what we were just looking at, which was this, right? I guess that's still loading. So we'll go back to the parent of these. So I did a variation of something, right? It says remix, so it wasn't just a straight variation. It means I did, well, a remix, so it's a variation also with the prompt edited, right? That's what it means. Remix is a variation, make variations of it while also changing the prompt at the same time. Okay, so we're back here, and then here's the parent of that. So it's just white clothes. There's no red on it. Yeah, so this is the one we're talking about, and I went to the parent of it, and we're tracing that back up the tree. Okay, so now here, this is the before. See how it's all messed up here, right? But it's like, and this also, because it's all you know, like line, you know, it's laid out wrong. This would be closer, but then there's an extra bar here. See with the handlebars? Well, there's an extra one there instead of putting the hand out here. And here it's all too close in. The jet ski's too small, or she's too big, right? And that one may be better. That might work, but then the shape of the jet ski is wrong, right? So because they're all weird, but it's because it doesn't know what to do. But it's starting to create possibilities of jet skis, and so you have to make variations of them. So you saw how those evolved, because here's what we've got there, which is a work in progress. the two heads, right? You get the two heads, but here you actually have someone on a jet ski, and there, this one, but there's actually two knees here. But that's why I'm saying it doesn't matter, um, because you can just do variations of them, and then it will become better. So you're just choosing which ones to do that with. So yeah, tracing it back, here's the parent, and yeah, then we get back to that one which I made a variation of, which I made maybe multiple variations of, and that's where they then came from. See, because I may have made variations of different ones, that we have here, and those, well, probably not this one though, but I did make variations of various ones of it, and then those turned into different ones, which became different ones, which eventually became these ones, which will then, um, will lead to other future ones. See, so variation of 4. So that was the prompt there. Make this art, right? Make world-class and award-winning and stunning and professional painting depicting a beautiful young woman riding a jet ski on a lake wearing a white and burgundy swimsuit in the sunshine. Okay, it says version 5 there. So, because in the settings that we have, we're in version 5.1 now, right? We don't want to scroll down. This is just, it's just going to have all the different ones, right? Right here, we're on, because you have to choose which layout you want, and then also like which style do we want to render it in or paint it, right? So yeah, I mean these ones also have potential. There's more of them, so I'm not sure whether these ones are better or these ones here. I guess these ones are better depending which style you wanted. Copy message link. I can open it in another tab over there. So which one of those? You have to look at different details on it and see, and potential flaws, or if it's, or similarities to a design or ideal. Okay, so like 2 and 4. Okay, so if I upscale those ones, then we have, and also here of course we're actually on this one. That's why I opened the other one, because I have a tab for that. I've got the link to it, and I've got it, and this way we can, well, not we, but definitely I can return to that specific one. If we're on a Zoom, a group Zoom, working together, then yeah, we can still work on the same ones in the future, but we need that link to get to it. Why I say me, not we, is because this is just a link to my private message chat with the Midjourney bot, so then you can't see it, right? But you can see it here because of sharing the screen. So the same thing works for when you're doing the same way, in the same way. Okay, so yeah, there was that number 4 one, and this other one here, right? So just to show that that's basically the process. Um, you could just make a variation of it and hope that the other knee goes away, or maybe there's 2 people on it, right? Like here it's giving the 2 heads, but it's not really supposed to. But you could say, well, we don't want 2 heads, right? And you put that in no, like up here, I guess. We don't have to do it, but I can just do, well, this is actually 1 there. That's the other one. So variation of 1. If I just add that in, just to show what I mean by that, not because I actually want to do that. Okay, so you can use a negative prompt to take parts of it out. Okay, so here, 2 and 4. So I said upscale them. That's kind of my first step, because that will filter them down, because as you see with the grids, then we have a whole bunch. This is from the very beginning, and I was basing it on an image, not on a prompt, but it's on an image and a prompt, right? And so we have this at the beginning. We get some different ones. We try to get it to actually show a jet ski, and then it starts to, you'll see that the variations from the one with the white shirt and the red swimsuit over it can actually become a jet ski. And there you go. Okay, I think that that's how that works. Yeah, right, because here the parent of those ones is one that was similar to that, and it's this one here. Okay. So was that tracing this one back? Yeah, I think so, because I traced this one back for you already, and it didn't go back to that same one. It went to a different one. And this one went back to that picture that we just saw. So now you saw that. You got two examples of how it morphed. So that proves that you can do that. Oh, okay. I shouldn't really click on it like that. That's not what we want. When we want to open those, we want to hold down Control and click it, right, to open in a new tab. Because I was on my profile with the search, the jet ski search, and showing the grids. To take a look at this one here. Okay, she's not moving. It's in a completely still, right? So it's got to be action. Yeah, right. So that then means we can then refine our prompt in our description of it. We can edit it and write it differently, and then use that because we're fine-tuning the prompt. So then when we do variations of certain ones, we can then put in the updated prompt. Yeah, as you can see here, it's putting two people in when that's not what we wanted. But that would be probably Midjourney 5. So you can see that over here and also here. See, it's putting two different ones. It's only supposed to be putting one of them. But you could cut it out. Maybe able to use that. Okay. Yeah, here. We could maybe just cut out part of it and then expand it. But it's making an illustration based on the photo from a video. Okay. Right. Okay, so that's another thing, as I was saying before. We will take a look at that in the future. So we got an image. Obviously, the image reference. There's an image in the prompt. It's got an image going in, and say Midjourney 3 version. Version 3 versus 5. But what about 4? Well, we can compare them, but the thing is that the image filter that eliminates things with skin in them started with Midjourney 4, and then of course it's there in Midjourney 5 also. So that's why I had to go back to Midjourney 3 in order to put the image in for it to accept it as an input image. Then we were able to bootstrap the thing, and I showed you that. So it produced different things, and then I upscaled or did variations of certain ones, like, where is it? The something there. No, here. No, this one. Yeah, well, this is another one which would be this. This could be a variation of this, or this could be a variation of that one right there. But anyway, from this one, we were then able to create these. And then actually get the jet ski. And there we have it. Okay, so then you can open up the ones that worked and then build from them. So that's what we're doing here. Curate them, remix the best ones with each other if we want to make more other variations. So like here's the extra head, right? So variation of this, and see what will happen. All right, so all these different, all the different positions. You can see that parent, right? And then you'll see the similarity there, and you know where that one came from now. There you go, right? You know how it came back. There was no jet ski in the picture, but then it kind of evolves and ends up drawing it. So that happened by doing variations repeatedly, because the prompt says that she's on a jet ski, right? So That's why it took iterations. So you just do variations of them. So you notice how it's showing it. It's like different positions or views or postures or whatever, all these different things. You then just choose from those and do variations of them. You don't need to have the remix mode on for that. Just click. You just go crazy with clicking on different ones, and then it will get you there. So here what we're doing is selecting from some that I made in the past, and then we can then make variations of them, which is what we're doing now there. So if we want to do that and not edit the prompt, we turn off remix mode so we can just click the buttons. If we're changing the prompt, we'll change it. So we can first kind of write the prompt slightly differently and then use that in doing that. So we'll be remixing, but that will take longer. And also it may mess it up, right? So the simpler way is just do variations. So I'll show that for today because there's only so much time we can put into it. Yeah. So then what I'll do is I'll just turn off remix mode, right? Because we're going to do variations of them, just simply clicking on them. The latest ones that have been produced are right here. Okay. So because we remember we upscaled a couple of them right there, like 2 and 4 on something, so that's those upscaled. See, 2, 4, and then variations of them, variations of one of them and of the other. Actually, no, of something else. Something with 2 heads. Yeah, see, no 2 heads. So you have to keep running it again and again, right? Like his here, got these 2 heads, but we don't want the lower one. So that's like this here. So variation of 3. Okay, so all we have to do is click that because it may take multiple steps, so we don't need to just make more and more variations of it. We can just click it and then later go to this one. So about a minute later that one will be there because it needs to go through iterations to morph. So that's why I showed you back in the past how some things did morph into those. So I traced some back just to show how they happened, and that way we learned from those. Okay. Yeah, so now we started to try to make a variation of that. There's an extra head there, inside there, which we don't want, right? Okay. This way. Okay, I mean they could kind of all work. There's another one. Right, and then as I was saying here, we can cut it out. If I just cut this part, because here it tried to do 2, well that's, yeah, whatever, right? That's more like this thing. So there's one of those we had, and there's another, because the first one that I listed there is this. This is like a photo looking one. Yeah, so if you put the same input in, which had an image, but the image has 2 images in it, like so it's a collage. So I put those 2. All right. Okay, so one beside the other in order to mix them, to merge it. But then it's doing 2. But if we were in version 3 instead of version 5, then maybe it would combine it together and be one person, one thing, right? So the other one, this is the same. I don't know if it's the same thing. It's just that it's doing a similar thing where it's putting 2 images when it's actually supposed to just be doing 1. Okay, here, see, she's riding this jet ski. This is all messed up here, right? Well, that's okay though. It doesn't have to be perfect because you can just do variations. So like in this one we have to say clothed. We'd have to tell it to we'd have to maybe describe the clothes and add them back on in the lower part. So this image prompt is probably the same one. I'm not sure. Like, because why is this so different from the other one that we were just looking at? Well, the prompt could be different, and the image that I put in could be different too. Yeah, I think that's the same one. That's my combo one. Right? I had a couple of different things. One with just one image, or whichever one, and this one I put both, It's an experiment, and as you see, if you're in version 5, it says version 4 there though, so I don't know which one it used, because it actually had in the text prompt, it may have said version whatever, and then it added in the version that it's actually using based on the setting, whatever the current setting was. So now we don't even know which one it is. And what does it do if it has it twice, right? If it really used 4 or 5, I don't know. That's the weird thing, is that if you put in version whatever in your prompt, will it actually override your current version or not? And it added this in, probably, because it would have added to the end. So in a way it might be a bug, right? Because you might be saying you want to render it, you want to use Midjourney version 4 algorithm to do the thing, because you put that in the prompt, but then it actually used 5 maybe. So that's why you want to set the setting. Go to settings, choose which version that you want to use. Here it's in 5.1. Back then we had to change it to 3. So if we go to 3 and then we put in like those examples there, like this one. So if we do this again, so that was the image prompt. Well, that's the same one, right? Copy. So if I go like this here, copy full command, then we go and imagine that in version 3. Okay, but take this off because it says version 4, version 5. Okay, so now we're using the same image. We're using the same image that went in, because yeah, I had to just pause there for a moment. So then yeah, we just basically, because I went like this and copy the full command, then we get the prompt as well as the this text weighting and like this and the image prompt. So I just put that in, but I had to take out the version note there. So because I've changed in settings, I've changed it to version 3. See, suffix, so it adds this to the end of your prompt, version 3, right? So I put the prompt in, which is this, with the image, reference image, and that prompt, and see no like negative part, no text font letters, no gobbledygook, and it added on version 3, right? Okay, so that's what it did. So that's completely different, right? Okay, that's the reference image, which you can see. Now we don't really, I think we do have that one. I thought I had another window open. Yeah, because it's this here. So this is one of the results in Midjourney 5, I believe, because it added that there. See? This part is probably just ignored anyway. Most likely it's 5. We might as well just run it again in 5. Yeah, so if we just switch it to 5 or 5.1, right? Go to 5 and put the same prompt in again. Well, if I re-roll it, that'll probably just work, right? Because it's going to do it in 5. It says there V3, but it should then do it in 5. Anyway, that's actually an experiment, because we'll see what it does, right? So here I'll copy this prompt and go imagine, and that should be then in version 5, because in the settings I clicked version 5. So we did it in 3 here, right? There might be part of a jet ski here, but not much. I mean, see, you got the swimsuit thing. Not swimsuit, it's a life preserver, or a, what are those things called? That's all buoyant. Okay, so there's that thing up here, the life vest or whatever. They call it a whole bunch of different things. But those things, there is that there, and then what's this? What's this part down here, right? Not sure. Maybe there is part of a jet ski, but it's pretty close up, right? We might want to pull back the camera. So we can write it differently. You can see that the version 5 is a lot different than the version 3, right? Incredibly different with the same prompt. So that's an example of it. But we'll go more into that in another video. Here it was just as a preview to show you, and you can experiment on your own things. And yeah, it's also an example of using a photo as a reference, but don't put two, right? Just put one. But if you want to put lots of different things, like what I did with the pyramid, I'll show that just a sec here. Yeah, so there was these pyramid things I did. Now I don't know what this is, like Midjourney 3 or 4. It may just be version 3 and remastered, probably. So these kind of things, right? I like that one. Um, so I made my first reference image was this. So that's a collage, right? It's different images. Each one was generated with Midjourney, not remastered, probably Midjourney 3. And this one was remastered. It's like version 3, but I remastered the thing. So it's like quite realistic looking. So those three combined together. If you put that into Midjourney 5, it might try to lay it out and put them separately, right? And then you got to get rid of that image reference so that it can merge and combine together. And if you use Midjourney 3, it can combine it all together into one thing, which is what we did, right? That's why I showed you these. It combines it all together. It's one thing. So it takes everything you put and combine together into one thing. So that's like a sketch, an initial thing, an approximation. Here's another input image, also generated. This one was made later, so there was more input data that could be put in, and so it's an experiment, and I tried it. And we look at what we get out of that another time, because I can't show you that without preparing it, right? Because I don't know what I made from it. But if we search back to the pyramids in our search, we can like bring them up, but then you have to trace things back. So that's why I say we can't do it without preparing it. If we just do it live, it will just take a lot longer to go through it. Like in the videos I made yesterday. I think I made them yesterday. Okay, so see here, this is what this produced in Midjourney 5, right? And it's putting two next to each other. It's trying to, see when it looks at the collage or whatever, the input image, it tries to make it like that. So it's the same thing here, right? It will try to make it like this. So if you were to put in something like that, a whole bunch of disparate elements, they could be any different elements, but if it tries to lay it out like this, then it would be bad, right? Because you get a lot of white space, a whole bunch of different things all separated. That's what it would do in Midjourney 5, potentially. But if you put the same thing in with the same prompt and you're in Midjourney 3, it would integrate together, and you wouldn't get this either, but you get something like this, which is what we want, right? But it uses the different things, analyzes them, combines them into one thing, which is why it's difficult to show multiple subjects in a scene, because it was trying to make them into one thing, like this, all integrated together, all cohesive. Okay, so that's a big difference between Midjourney 3 and Midjourney 5. So here you see in 5, it's putting them separately, just like what we showed there, and that's not what we want, really. So we wouldn't use it in that way, right? We would just put in one image. Or you would actually do it a different way. So when you add you got your text prompt, and you've got a link to an image, which is this image prompt, you would have one of those images as one link and another image as another link. So whichever ones you want to put in, you have to list them all out. So you just put them in, you just put multiple links. So that's what we would do in 5 compared to what we do in 4. And that experiment, the thing that I was doing with the collages, is something I experimented with in the past. So this was not the first time I did it. I can show an earlier one, but with an earlier one, I actually have a whole bunch of different input images that I created over time, because I tried it once and it worked, and I was using Midjourney 3, and so then I made different inputs and created many different outputs. Okay, yeah, so we have this thing here, right? Yoga Babe Grand Canyon. All right, so these are some outputs, but remember it's Midjourney 3. Right, okay, so she's doing yoga on the edge, kind of like on the edge of a cliff with the Grand Canyon behind her. And yeah, as we say, it's Midjourney 3. If it was Midjourney 5, then then it would become a lot more realistic. Okay, so the inputs, the first uh, I created these inputs and put them in, and the inputs are made from other images, right? Like this, see? There's the picture of the Grand Canyon. There was this dude standing there, right? So I cut this out. So it's just a photo of the Grand Canyon. Because back then in Midjourney 3, it doesn't try to emulate the full result, the full effect of the collage. That's not what we're trying to do. It's just simply analyzing whatever's here, integrating it all together as one thing, and then spitting that out. So it's just got to show her in the Grand Canyon. Okay, well, but who's that and who's this, right? Different people. Doesn't matter. It has to merge them together as one person. So that's what happens with that. So this is a pretty good case study, because in this one I've tried lots of different things. So we have many inputs, many outputs, lots of data, right? So we can learn a lot if we go back to what we did. But it's Midjourney 3, right? It's not a newer version. Okay, there. So this is something that it generated. This was earlier. This is before we got to the yoga at the Grand Canyon. It's just like a picture of a person, see? But I cut her out though. So here it's like, well, I'm showing different angles, right? Because here you can see this person from behind, but you can also see her from the front here. Okay, so this was the very first input. I guess it's the first input image I put in. Well, to bootstrap it, I mean, see, because that's not the first one. This is just a later one, and it has an actual photo of the Grand Canyon down there, right? But it's obviously not the first, because they're all numbered here. But and I've put them into a folder called inputs, so that's probably the first reference. But it can't be the first, because it's already being bootstrapped here, because this image, the one that you can see here, is already being generated. And that is just from a different one it generated, and this is from an earlier one from a different project. See right there. This is just one of the faces. Now it says Mexican, but they weren't actually Mexican. That's just what I called it when I started, and then I got these different faces, and the faces can then be used to make things, like what you saw with the pyramid. Yeah. So like this, the face. That's how these were also made, and it's how some of the faces got made, is that they were cut out like from here. But some of these are also results from an earlier experiment with these faces. So those aren't here. I mean, here it's just showing some outputs. Yeah, this is okay. We can look at them. Well, maybe not that one there, but we can look at the other ones. Okay, so yeah, I created a couple of inputs here. See, this is an image from one like that was generated, although it may have had more than one person in it. Like how these ones here, we'll just go to the one on the left, like how this has two people in it, right? The two in the prompt it says gringas, one sunbird, extremely lovely curvaceous gringa babe, beside another. Because we couldn't use the word babes, that was a banned word, so I said one standing next to another. So the two, here's an output, right, with dresses on. It's because my dad wrote a story, and in the story it said that these two sunburnt gringas, gringa is in Mexico, that would be someone who is a tourist from, say, the US or Canada. And in Mexico they would mean Americans. So two people, two young ladies, right? And the wind playfully blows their dresses up over their backsides or something. The wind is playing with it. And that's what it was doing. But then I said, well, this one's too naughty. We don't allow that one. When those outputs are produced, then you're supposed to click the X on that, and that will remove that one from your profile. So when people look on the profile, then it will be filtered out, because if something's over PG-13, then you're supposed to do that. And so that's how you do it. But it's when it generates something too naughty, you can go and respond with that X. That's how you actually do it. and then it will take that one out of from the profile, so it's not shown. Okay, so to continue here, I produced different things. Now those images may have had more than one person in it, or just one, either way, but maybe it had different ones. But here what I've done is cut them out and then combine them, so it's an experiment. So that's one input that I put in, like this. It's to put the two together in the scene, as a design, a sketch, to lay it out. So that's one input, and that's the second one. So you can see that she's the same, but the other one is now a different one here, right? So that's an input. Those are input image examples, and this is an earlier experiment before the Grand Canyon thing. And then that's another input image example. See, number 3. You can see the seam there. It's like 2 pictures I put next to each other. That's to bring the 2 into the scene. Here is something it produced. Okay, because it's supposed to, remember, it's supposed to blow the dresses up over their backsides. The wind playfully plays with their dresses. Okay, so it's trying to do that, but they're not really complete. It's just kind of wrapped around some loose thing. Okay, but there's no seam, see? So it generated this scene like that. And they're not gringos. They may be Mexicans. Or maybe they're Hawaiians or something. Okay, here's another one from the front, and not naughty. Okay, so we don't see the faces, but maybe that's somewhere else. I'll look for it. I'll pause and bring it up if I can. Okay, so I found them. So this is a spin-off from the from that one that I was just showing you, that example. The previous one I showed you was an early experiment, and it was based on his story, like just from one sentence from a story. And I played with that just for fun and made some art, right? Then I started making the faces, because you can make profile pics. You can make a profile picture collection, like an NFT collection. So in order to make faces, I was playing with that secondarily from that, as a spin-off from that other idea. So this one, you might recognize her. That's from one where the lower part of it, she didn't have any top on. Here I've drawn something in. So I just simply put some pixels there, some red, right? I just drew that, and that way I'm telling it that there's supposed to be a swimsuit or whatever, some kind of clothing, right? So that little part is edited there. There's another, and so on. So so then all these faces, so, you know, Mid-Journey version 3, right? But this is not remastered. Okay, so I tried different things. Slightly kind of has some anime influence into it. Okay, and so then I collected them, right? Different ones, and you can see some of them came from the ones with the pyramids, and some of it remixes across the projects, right? So the different faces over time collected. Okay, so we'll go through those. Oh yeah, it's from very early Space Babes, before Space Babes even existed. It's from day 9, like using Mid-Journey at the beginning. On day 9, I made some things. Here I've cut out that part of a painting, right, from those, and just put them in as an input image, as an input for the face. So all these are input, they're all potential input images for generating the faces. Okay, and some of them will be variations of each other. Right? So anyway, that goes and goes and goes and goes, and then there. Okay, so there's a Grand Canyon background here, right? Because we said, you know, on this beach, or with a pyramid behind it in the lush jungle, right? That thing, that's what these are. You know, the one where you can kind of see the pyramid to the side a bit there. See? That's part of the steps of the pyramid, so that's cut from that. It's really good. Right, so many different styles, right? Okay, so I changed parts of the text prompt that I put in, right? So say like one of them was like this beach, outdoor beach, whatever, tropical, and one of them was like the thing with the pyramids, which you can kind of see there. You can see the pyramid to the side, and there's some where it's more obvious, and you know where that one came from. See, it's cut out from that. Someone said succulent when I posted this on Facebook. They're like, "Oh, it's succulent." Okay, so then in this one, I said that the background is the Grand Canyon, right? Okay, and then I cut it out, right? I cut out around the edge. Although we didn't have to, because then I did it in the Grand Canyon anyway, right? We then made the thing in the Grand Canyon. Right, well there it is now, I can see it. Okay, so these input images, well before we get into that, there's that image. See what I mean? So it's just input image number 155 from the faces experiment thing, right? Those are input images. They're not the produced ones, the outputs. They're just potential inputs, which were collected. When you put those in, and then of course remaster it, or you do it in Midjourney 5 now, right, or whatever, then you'll produce whatever you want from it, and in whatever scene. So you can say this person, whatever, this character, doing this thing, thinking that, right, with this emotion or whatever, with this background or in this place, right, in this scene, doing a certain thing, or like with something in the background, or with that other thing, like the dolphin jumping beside or whatever, right? So you just describe it. So that was something I inputted in, right? And I have a prompt which I explained, which I used. This isn't from the very beginning. Actually, that might be from the very beginning. Not necessarily. Okay, I'm not sure, right? But it was based on a different thing which I learned from, and I just made a variation of that prompt and described this idea and generated them. So these inputs are made from things that it produced, as well as making these kind of little collage things, right, by combining different outputs from other ones. So like there, I've cut it out, but there can be a problem with doing a thing like this, right, because you got the headshot, and the way that the view was only with here, and it cuts off there on the left side as well as over here. So there can be a problem with that because we put her in there and then it's like, oh, the arm's cut off, right, which is not what you want. So you might not want to do that kind of thing because it will cause a problem. But if you had this part here, for example, if you had that there and you had it cropped at that spot there also, then it's okay. You could use this whole thing, or whatever, or you could just use that. See? But she already had the Grand Canyon behind her anyway, so there's no point. This is just a different view of the Grand Canyon behind her. Right? So here we'll just call that the next one, right? Because I already have all these, so we'll call it 44. Just so we don't throw it away and waste it, I'll just save it. I'll just add it in there. Okay, so yeah, now I've showed you that as a kind of example. So we have these little collage things, right? And this, everything here on the left, this whole thing, that's just generated by it. But you can see that it's similar to what we were inputting, right? So this is something it generated. This is a different one, a little cut part. And then I also put the pyramid. So somehow I'm trying to make the pyramid there also in the Grand Canyon, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that I really used that or like told it to put the person with the pyramid with the Grand Canyon also. I don't think we did that yet. Okay. Yeah, so the girl comes from something else, right? Some other project. So here I'm playing with the sky above it, right? Maybe that didn't work so well. Thing is, it might work, but here I try to make it better. I put a different sky there that fits better, and then here we added on a Grand Canyon photo, right? Part of a Grand Canyon, actual real photo of it, and then it gives the AI a lot to digest. See these different ones? Like this is actually a square, right? Right here, that's where it's a square. And so then I expanded the space and then filled that with a color, like the same color from here or something. and then add some clouds from a different one. So they're all experiments, and then we kind of learned from it because we tried things, and you can see what works or doesn't. So there's lots of different inputs. See, so doing this in Midjourney 5 wouldn't give you probably what you want, but if you do it in Midjourney 3, it combine all together into one thing. But in Midjourney 5, you could then just, add this image as one file, and that, because you already have the files, and you can clip them if you want, or just put the links to them. So you'd have one image, another image, another image, another image, and it would use that. So doing it in 5 versus 3 will be different. Okay, we won't look at all of them. Okay, and that's a really long video because now we're almost to 2 hours, so it's too long. We don't want to make it longer. So that'll be enough for today in this example. And you can see here the latest grids. These are latest things. Well, they're not the latest, right? Because we may have generated more since then, which would be the maybe some variations of stuff from there, right, from the past. But yeah, so here we have latest grids. So we generated something, right? All right, so you can see some there, right? So this is the new stuff I was making today is all down here, and we can pick some from those and produce art out of it. And this is already art. You just have to decide what you want to make. Like these were from the illustration, from my sketch illustration, which is why it made it look more sketchy, more illustration style rather than more realistic. And that was based on the one where it put 2 dolphins over. So it's really weird and fake, right? But that's okay. You can then, like, say we pick, well, I'm probably going to pick maybe that or this. Actually, either of those could work. Let's just pick one. So I guess I'll do this one. Like this, that one may end up without clothes on it, right? Potentially. We can use either or both, but for now we're just going to do this one as an example. Okay, and then I'll just stop the video. But in the future, we'll be able to continue because there's a whole bunch here. We can expand them and make the art from this. But this is giving us something to explore, something to look at, and also ideas. And it's hopefully to give you ideas for when you're making your own art. Hopefully you're making yours also along the way. And that's why you can pause when you're watching my video. You can pause at any point when you're inspired and just try something. And so then you can be working along with me and making variations of them and stuff. And we also do that like in these Zoom hangouts. So then we can be making our own art and like an office hour thing, and then you may be able to ask me questions while we're making our own art, and even share screens and see what because it's visual, so it helps a lot to do that on Zoom. So I hope that you've learned something from this video and that it has been valuable to you. Okay, so here we have, yeah, I said I was going to pick that one. Right? So what I'm going to do here is make a variation, but remove the image of the sketch. Well, which is the sketch? That's this one here. It ends with RKS, because the sketch image is, I mean, that's just a photo of a sketch, right? So that's how we started this whole thing. So that's this one. So I'm going to take that out. So then okay. See, remix mode is off. Okay, we're switching remix on. Okay, so then when I click this one, I'm going to take out the sketch. RKS is the sketch. Okay, that means that it still has the other one. Which one is that? It's probably one of the very early ones we rendered, and it's a variation of one of those first, which is this one. Okay, and you could combine them together. So say we do a variation of this, as we just did, and we took out the sketch, but we could also take out the other one. So we're just using the prompt, just using that description. If you do the same thing like that, but you instead of this one with the dolphin jumping over her, if you just change it to the one with the dolphin going alongside, but not with the sketch. Remember, that's the sketch and that's that other reference image. So yeah, what you can do if you have a spreadsheet, you can put in there these links. You can even put little thumbnails of them, like a picture next to the thing, right? We won't do it right now, but I'm just kind of noting that so that you can keep track, so that you can see, oh yeah, this one is this one, whichever different one. You can see them visually and choose which ones you're mixing together. But what we're about to do right after this is even more interesting though. Okay, so I'm just remixing the same one that I'm remixing, right? I'm making a variation of it and changing the prompt at the same time. But I'm making the dolphin alongside instead of jumping over. And not two dolphins, right? One, right? So that's what we're doing there. But something more interesting, right, is that we could put multiple images into it, right? So if we use, we don't have to do the dolphin alongside thing though. We can do the dolphin jumping over her, right? Okay, so we have that, but without the image, without the sketch, right? So just with one of the reference images. But what if we put in more than one reference image? What if we use a different one as an example? We may be able to do that. Okay, well, let's just try putting in multiple different ones. Okay, so here I'm taking a screenshot of that one there, and then I paste that in. So I send that as a message. But we'll go get the others too, right? Okay. What do we have? Right, it's a different one. It's kind of a close-up thing. Oh yeah, right. This is a close-up, and she is, but no, I mean this part's messed up, right? We don't need to use it. Of course, you could just cut this side of it, this part. Okay, another one. See, we could use that for example. Okay, so I mean you can upscale 3 and then you'll get that image. If you just do that, you get it as an image link, right? Of course, that'll take us longer though from where we are, right? If we just do this, it will actually, yeah, basically it'll be quicker if I just do that. You can go either way though, because if you want to be able to trace it, right, you'd have, you know, you go to this one, open in Discord, and then just click U3, upscale number 3. Okay, and then yeah, those were in progress. And here's some other thing, and see this light, colored light coming down. So there's this one with the red one, but this is, I don't know, the shape looks weird. This is more of a real one, but then there's all this weird stuff around it. And then there's 2 people on that one, which you can do. I had 3 people on a jet ski. I was alright on the very back though. There's another, this one. Okay, I guess this, because I'm not going to mix it with 2 people, because then it will confuse it. It'll tell the AI you want 2 people, like, on it. So we could do this one or that one. I'm just gonna kind of, I mean the spray is kind of weird, so like this is all work in progress too, but I'm just gonna do this one just for now. Okay, see, there's an upscaled one. This is where we just put the image in. Here's the upscaled one when we did it. So we'll get that, right? So we get that link. Okay, well which one am I doing though? It's from something. Probably from here. Well, you can do it from there. We're also going to do it from scratch, from the beginning. Okay, so we're adding in more of these. Uh-oh. Okay, I just messed it up. I lost it because I hit the X instead of here. So lost that one. So then we're starting over. Well, it doesn't matter. You could use the same one, or you could just go from a different one. But that was the one with the two dolphins jumping over. Sorry about that. Oh no, no, it's okay. Actually, um, it would be like what we did from to make this, right? See, because we did a variation of something, and that would be this one here, because that's why it popped up to here when I clicked that. So I was just doing variations of that one, right? So we're back where we were. But we need those links. Okay, I think we have them though. What you gotta, that's why you gotta use like a notepad just to make it easy, right? Because you got one link there, and the other, we're adding those ones. Okay, so this way we can mix them together. Alright, is there another one? Well, I think I put another one in, which I just copy and pasted. Yeah, I copied it like on the clipboard and just pasted it in because you need a link to it. So now we have 3. So let's just try it with that. Then we will also do the same thing. So yeah, here these are variations of that specific one. See, we tried it with different, we were trying with different inputs, right? So these things are variations of a certain one. So we'll click that link right there to get up to the parent, which is where we were, and that's where we're making the variations from. So what we were doing is we were remixing this one, and that's what we're doing. So I'm doing V2 on that. Okay, see, so we're making variations of 2. Here's the new prompt, right? We're putting in these images. We took out the sketch. We're not using the sketch. We're just using those ones, along with the same prompt with the dolphin jumping over. Okay, there. So that's what we were trying. Now, if you were to just imagine that in the first place, not making it a variation of an illustration based on a sketch, right? Instead of that, just imagine it with those 3 images, like this image and that, right? And this, right? Like this. So it's this one and that one together. You can see what happens. And so then hopefully it does something, but then at least I'll leave you with something, some example of actually doing this thing, because the earlier part was talking about it, but at the very beginning I was doing it, and I did, that's what I did this earlier today before I started the video, is I started it, I only just barely started it, and then I showed you expanding it more together with you on the video. So there you go. See, when I started it, I just had my sketch. I did the sketch first, but on an earlier day, I did stuff before in the past, which I showed you in the video, so you already know that. But yeah, today I did just start with the sketch. I started with just the prompt that I wrote today, just put that in by itself, and I also put the same prompt in with the sketch. So that's where we began, and that's how we did it. So that's just rendering based on the description, and that's with the description and the sketch. So it made a kind of illustration thing, but it's very simple, right? And it's obviously an illustration, but what would happen if we said we wanted it photorealistic? I'm not sure if I've tried that experiment, right? We're in remix mode, so if I re-roll this prompt and I say, now of course if I change more than one thing, then that's breaking the experiment. It's breaking the test, because then I'm not just testing for one variable. I'm changing it, right? So I'm not going to change that too, because then I'm not just changing one thing. So I'm going to design and render this scene, right? So I guess I'll say in photorealistic style. Okay, and that way I've changed one thing because I added in photorealistic style instead of without saying that. Now also we didn't say to make an illustration, but that's just what it did, and the difference between this and that is just I mean, the prompt is exactly the same with design and render a scene, yada yada. The only difference is I put that sketch in. So the sketch messes it up, but it also influences it, and you can get something good out of it too. But you may need to remove the sketch. So we create a variation of the thing. I mean, we can make more of these. You can do this many times, right? And every time you do it, you'll get different things. Okay, so we can do that. So we're gonna just fix this word here, right? So if I use that prompt, you can put the same thing in here as many times as you want, right? So we'll just do it twice just to show that you get different outputs. Okay, so those are gonna happen. It's gonna do those. So then from those things, that would be way up there. Yeah, that would be just way up there. Although we don't have to scroll all the way up because I've been making variations of it, right? Well, I was doing variations of that, which is of that. So we'll go up to its parent, and there you have this one. And that's it. We're right there at the beginning. So we can make a variation of it and remove the sketch. Well, that's fine. That's what we've started trying to do. So we'll see how that works. You can also make variations of it while still keeping the sketch in. But then once you get those results, then you can take the sketch back out in a later step and see if the style will change then, because then it will be no longer influenced by the input image being the sketch. But you can also weight the input image differently depending on how much you want to weight it. So by default, it's weighting it a quarter. So here when we started, we have this prompt, and the weight is 1 on the text, and that's the whole prompt. And then here, we got the weight of 1 on the text and a weight of a quarter on the image, which is that. So if you want to change it, you just weight the image differently, like more than a quarter or less than a quarter. I don't know if you can do less than a quarter, but yeah, you can weight the image however you want, like differently. So we're re-rolling the prompt, right? But instead of doing exactly what we did there, we're changing the image weight. If image weight is 1, then it gives the same weight to the image as we gave to the text, which is 4 times more than it did here, because here the default is a quarter of the weight to the image, which is the sketch. So if we make it image weight 1, then we're weighting the image and the text equally. So it would probably become worse than this. It'll probably become even more rudimentary and simple, like this thing, because here we only weighting it a quarter, and we got that. The weighting it more would probably make it worse, in my opinion. Okay, so that's a little example of that. You can weight it however you want. So you can also weight the images you're putting in differently. But then how can you weight different images differently, right? Because we started to do an experiment where we put 3 images in. See right here. So we put in 3 different images, and the dolphin jumps over her, we're saying. But the thing is that those images that we put in don't have a dolphin. I don't think they have a dolphin in it. But we can put in another one that does also, right? Because we don't really have that. So you can see she's just riding the jet ski, but there's no dolphin. And yeah, that could be a tropical beach there, so it's cool. But that's not what I have in the description. That's a later description I wrote. So I mean, a later one that I wrote has the tropics, so this doesn't have it because it's an older one. Okay, so we can just do that. We can upgrade it. So you got the we'll find the tropics. Okay, I'm not sure why it doesn't show up there. It may be that we only did it on this one, the dolphin alongside, because it's not in here. Okay, so there is this one, and that's with the dolphin alongside instead of jumping over, right? So the other style. That's why. Okay, so that's all good. Of course, we can edit it differently, but like we should also use an input photo with the dolphin jumping over. Not like this, because she's riding a dolphin and a dolphin's jumping over, right? That's not the idea. This is like a jet ski down here though, or that is also with these fins though, and there it's like two, or shark, or dolphins or whatever, or orca. It's like combining together, right? It's all crazy. So going based on the ones where we did make something, so you can go to upscales, and then you'll see what we actually created already. And then we can take one of those links and put it in, because here we've got 3 input images, but nothing with a dolphin jumping over. Okay, there, see, so there, she's turning, like here it's sitting this way, this one's leaning, turning, dolphin jumping over there, right? So we can take any of those, and the dolphin should look good and not be deformed. Well, same for her, of course, right? So pick any of them and show the dolphin jumping over her, and we'll put that in. So I guess, like, I could just use this one for example. So copy image address. That should be the same as when I expand it, right? See, it says this and 0 _2. Okay, and if I expand it and do the same thing, I think it's the same link as if you don't expand it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same. Oh, is it actually? Okay, we got to check that now. Okay, now I've really messed it up there. All right. It's exactly the same. Okay, good. So we have one more to put in there. And we'll also put it in the tropics, just because we're editing, right? Here's one with the dolphin. Oops. Here's one with the dolphin jumping over. Okay, so the dolphin's jumping over though, not going alongside, right? And then we're going to add in tropics. See, dolphin's really close by, but we said it was a few feet above her, right? So then there's tropical water, white sand beach, and blue sky. Okay, there. Okay, so I've updated the prompt, and then we go imagine. So now we're using like 4 input images and a prompt and no image weight, but the image weight is 1/4, right, by default. So then we can put that prompt in and we can put in image weight 1. Now we're weighting the images more, so it's completely different. That's completely different than what we just did. See? Image weight 1. Because here we'd have image weight 1/4 by default. So yeah, that's just a variable. So we can just make software or use Excel also for some people, or whatever you use. And you can have variables and these different things changing, and then you could even randomize it and have random, like this value is a random part of the options that it could be, and this other one is also of that, and so then you multiply those together, those different possibilities, and that creates a whole bunch of different prompts. And see, these are just the input images, so now you can see what we're putting into it, one with it jumping over, but then we're putting a lot more weight on her riding a jet ski with no dolphin jumping over. See, because there you don't see it, and there's no, but this is close up, so you wouldn't see the dolphin anyway, or whatever, right? And there's that. So if that won't work, then then you can just put more of them in with dolphins jumping over, and fewer that don't have the dolphin jumping over. So if you put 2 in with the dolphin jumping over and 1 without it, like this or whatever, and we combine those, as those are our input images, see, they're all listed out, with the prompt, and we try it, we can try the same thing many times. You can just put the same prompt in many times and get many different outputs. So that, yeah, and as I'm saying, we could actually try putting different images in, and we can use software to select those different images and combine them in combination differently, right? And so that gives us just ridiculous amounts of potential prompts we can put in. Okay, so this shows the latest upscales, right? So that's the art, right? That's the art so far. Okay, and so then you can go grids and also refresh it too, and then you will see everything that we're generating because we haven't selected. Remember those illustration style ones, because we haven't selected those yet by upscaling them. All right, we can see someone up close here with the jet ski coming towards us, you know, at close range, and these illustrations. So somewhere there, I said, I know quite a long time back, I said do this in the style of Mobius, right? By Mobius, and we probably didn't look at it. There was a time when I was looking through, remember, and we were just looking through like from post to post, and we didn't even make it to the present, right? So that was quite a long time ago. It's quite a long way back. Yeah, here's the beginning. So we were looking through it, didn't even make it, and at that point I had said let's look at the grids here, right? And so we were looking at the grids because it's easier to look at them, and we look through, let's find ones that stand out and upscale them, right? That's the next step. You could pick some, upscale those. Then you can switch over to upscales, look at those, make variations from certain ones, and then you'll be off to the races. You'll be well on your way. So I hope that helps you to go full on God mode with your AI art creation. These ones were when we said Mobius. Yeah, see, because I just tried that. Remix something, right? Make a variation of it and change the prompt. Something is the parent. It also said image prompts there too, though, so it's probably like the sketch. Probably just the sketch. Could have another too, but I think it's just the sketch. Okay, so we did a variation of something and said by Mobius, and that's all that happened here. But yeah, you have to keep going, make more variations, and if you want one of those flying bird things, you can describe it in there. Say there's a large flying a large flying bird machine with a person flying it or whatever, right? You can describe what you want, and then that thing up there will change into something else. See, there's someone in that speedboat or whatever, that or a yacht that's flying, and this is like a jet, like a little private jet, but it's a dolphin which is turned into a jet up there. See, so you can see how these are changing. Yeah, so if you do that one just as an example, say, oh, okay, I think I just closed that page, but we're getting it here though. And that page is really simple. It was just the mid-journey, like my profile, and search for Mobius, or Jetski Mobius, right, to filter down. But I just did it, so it'll just be there at the top. Okay, so then, and it's grids. So here we go. Like there's someone in that you can see, right? Maybe a flying saucer. Right, so let's go variations of that, and it's a bird. It's going to be the giant bird thing. All right, so this person's riding the jet ski. Dolphin jumping over. There is no dolphin jumping over. I'm going to leave that part together. The dolphin's really close by, it says, okay? Yeah, and then the other part. So I'm going to I can add the thing in the sky here, or like maybe before it. I'm just going to put it here though. You could say in the background there's this, or you could say there is a large flying bird-like machine, like airplane kind of thing. With a monk riding outside on the upper surface. Okay, it says here, yeah, seen by Mobius. Okay, so we got this with the sketch in. We can take the sketch out. Okay, so that's my prompt. See here, we'll just start a new file just to keep it simplest, right? There's a whole new one. Because over here, you have the flying bird thing above, and Mobius. Right, so if we if we change that and we say, yeah, in the style of Mobius instead of by Mobius. Okay, but I also want to get rid of that input image, that sketch. I wonder which one we were using there. Oh yeah, because we were doing it here. It's the first one here. So here, yeah, so that's why in the note we should write that in there so we know that's what we were doing. See, we're remixing that one. That gets you back to where we were, and we're actually doing number 3 on it, but whatever if you want. Okay, so I was just saying, like, by Mobius or in the style of Mobius, but whatever, right? Let's just take out this sketch because we can still make a variation of what we're seeing there, number 3. You don't need to have the sketch still influencing it, right? So let's try this, and then I'll also try it with it written a different way. Okay, so okay. Yeah, well, it's like showing a scene, so oh, that's okay. Let's just try it like that. So then yeah, I could just imagine that, or I can do it as a variation from this one, or any of them, right? You can pick your best one and yeah, and do that. If you use a different input image, that will also influence it, right? So here we're doing the same thing, but we can mix in another one. Like here we had those different images. So one of the first one has a dolphin actually jumping over her, I believe. So we'll put that one in then. See, that first one is this. There. Because we added that because we were saying, I got these, but then there's no dolphin actually jumping over in the input images, right? So we went and grabbed one. It's just one of them. Okay. Alright, so that's an example there of just playing with it, and I put some different, I hit escape there to go to the present. But we could have just done that over here in the Discord app. Hit escape. There. Okay, yeah, because we want Mobius style. Alright. Look at that crazy thing there. And this, it's like a jet ski that's a dolphin, right, by Mobius. This nuts. Okay. Alright, and back there, here I've taken out the sketch. See, in the past it had the sketch. Here we go. It had the sketch as a reference image in it, right? And that's what we had, and we were doing variations of this one, number 3. And then I've taken the sketch out, see, because it's a remix. It's a variation of it while also changing the prompt. There's the new prompt. Doesn't have the input image in it. See, that's the earlier one. That's the parent up there. It's a link to the parent. You click here to get to it. So this one, we've now taken away the sketch, see? So now you can see here a spaceship or rocket up there, all right? And this jet ski is also like a dolphin, see? Here it is as a combination of the two, and also there. And then now this one, kind of a Barbie thing, not exactly like Barbie, but you know, that in that kind of theme. And we can change it, like say mix it with something from yesterday. So something I showed you yesterday, if I can I would say that my one tab may have the links there. Okay, yeah, you can see this here on my one tab. I had these open yesterday. So I'll go in there and take a look and pop that up for you. Okay, so that was the one that I was actually thinking of. This is a different one. Okay, right. So, but now that we have them, we could use either. And this isn't even our own work, right? It's an example. Okay, and look at how detailed this prompt is, right? So this is one that we're referencing. Yeah, Mobius, right? Okay, so another input. Okay, so yeah, so if I just simply copy this part, then you'll see that. I mean, then this way it will, yeah, right? If we do that, then at least it will be easy to find it. Okay, and also there's the other one. So say we just put this in, right? Copy image there, but we don't have someone on a jet ski. We just have that image. Because here I'm doing a variation of this one and then saying, oh yeah, override the character, right? So that's just showing you an example. So you can do the same. We can try that. We can do the same thing. So now we also didn't change the prompt. You can put in a description of this character and put that in there because it just says a beautiful young woman, right, riding a jet ski. So if you then say an angelic or whatever, right, you can just describe the person in more detail as has been done elsewhere, or I mean previously. So, and then of course another way that we could try that is to put in like two images, one with someone, the one with a riding a jet ski and a dolphin jumping over, and another one which is this image here. Okay, so we have those here. So like this with the dolphin jumping over, here's one more close up. Yeah, I guess maybe this. Oh, well, maybe just put that. I mean, you could put all of them, but I'll just put this one too, just to show happiness. Okay. All right, so that way we end this with a better example, um, just inspired on the fly from what we were doing. So, because you just try different things, and then when you look at the art, obviously you'll automatically be inspired. So I was like, hey, let's try something here. Like, what if we just say, let's change the character, use what's here, but keep changing it. And it's also, if you look at the way the waves are going around it in a circular, well, maybe it's moving forward, but it looked like they're kind of in a circular way. It's almost like it's hovering. Maybe it's hovering and it keeps itself off the water, which is why that it's all like blasting up like that. This thing, maybe that's what they all are, or maybe it does some weird thing as it goes through the water, and makes that pattern. Okay, right. So you can see how the style's changing there, for example. All of them are different, right? But you can see these lines on these edges are thicker than in the other ones there. If you look at this one compared to this or this, I'll upscale those just so you can take a closer look. So, because we're saying in the style of Mobius, but we removed the image link, right, reference to the sketch, my first sketch. And here I still had the sketch in, so this is what we got. See, it's very simple, so basic. Well, the sketch I made was very simple. It's simplified. It doesn't even show anything on the person's face. It's just a little circle, right? That's what I did. But then here we get more detail, right? So it's cool. And we are able to use that sketch to create something or whatever you want, right? You can also remove the sketch partway through, like use it to get part way, and then go in whatever direction you want from there by removing the influence of the sketch, by just when you do a variation or re-roll the prompt or variation of any of them, you just take the link to the sketch out. But we can also add in other images. So we started to do that process, and we will probably see, because here it says that's only part way done. But yeah, we'll probably see soon some of the results of that. Okay. I guess I'll just kind of zoom in on this one and take a look at it, like to show you it. There, that was that one before, upscaled, right? But then we're gonna do variations of it, and I said, because this person just reminded me of something from yesterday, right? I was like, yeah, remember I found someone made this, and it was like, this is so detailed and all that. Well, you can reuse the character in there. See, there's some advanced stuff in here also. Okay, and we got to play with stylize. Got to play with chaos and stylize and stuff. And this, I don't know what the Q means. Oh, that's quality probably, right? S for stylize. There's also chaos, not here, but there is. So we can play with some of those other things, and we can put that character in. But see, if you just have the input image and you don't bring in any of the description, it's not exactly the same, right? Any change you make is relevant. So if you just put the image in, it will also affect it, and it will depend on how much you weight that image, remember, right? And then we want to be able to weight one image more than another, but I'm not sure if it can do that, or if it allows you to do that yet. Because you can weight parts of the text differently, right? Like yesterday. Like yesterday when we were talking about with that reference image, which may be this one that will pop up here, like Red Riding Hood. So I had used the style from that prompt. Something that I didn't point out in that video, I only noticed it when I watched the video after. But when I was actually, in it, if you watch the video, I did not notice at the time that I had actually made a mistake, right? So I can point that out, but maybe we should do that in a different video actually, because it'll just be too long. So we'll have to make the videos shorter. But yeah, this is the one we're talking about. So I use the style of this combined with the little alien. But the thing is that I weighted the image a certain amount, right? And I weighted the text a certain amount. And we also weighted the text, each part of the text, a different amount. But what I had done when I did it the time before, which is what I was making the video about, I had not put the text weight on the part that I changed, which was the paragraph I put in here, as well as the last paragraph. So then it had the weight 4 for the first paragraph, and then just weight 1 for the whole rest of it, which it didn't have this because we replaced that with cute pink alien or whatever. But this last part was also weighted only 1. So it wasn't even what I really intended to do the first time, because I made a mistake there, because I still had that weight there, but I didn't notice, and I didn't weight the other paragraphs. So that's what happened on the first one. But then in the video, when I was showing it to you, I kind of put a weight on each paragraph. So just to point out, that's not actually what I did the first time, and that's why the output that we got yesterday was different than what I did the time before. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. So we don't really want to do it on the fly, because we have to have the link to it. So then the quick way to do that, you'd be like, you'd be on your profile, and you would just search for that thing and bring it up so that we can get to that post, and then we'd be able to go to it. But we won't do that now, because it makes the video longer. So there's no point. So what the point of what I'm doing right here is talking about the weighting. Okay, so yeah, you can weight the images that you put into it differently, and the text. So the text is weighted 1 by default, and images are weighted 1/4. So we can change the weighting of the image, right? So you do this thing, say you re-roll it, you weight the image differently. Okay, so we'll do that. But there's 3 images. Well, then they should all be weighted the same, right? Image weight 1. that will now be 4 times the weight of what we normally do, because image weight is a quarter by default. So these images are being weighted a quarter, the text is being weighted 1, and so the image only has so much influence. The parent of this one is this one here. It's number 4 right there, because I'm doing a variation of this one here. If you upscale it first, then you would be making variations of that upscale. So that post, wherever it makes a post of the upscale, like say this is an upscaled one, you could do variations of it, right? There's some cool designs coming up on it, like on the actual jet ski there. So that's cool too. So here we have this, right? So if you do a variation of it, you can put the prompt in. Yeah, so we have here this thing with these different images going in, right? But you could also put different amounts of weight to it. So that's the same thing with image weight too. And here's this, well, I don't know if it's the same thing, but here I'm doing it with image weight 2 and with image weight a quarter, and also with a half, or even with 1, right? But a quarter is the default. So I included a quarter, right? So then I'll also do half. And so this way we've done it from the same spot and only changed one thing. And if I did that right, if I actually put in the images like that or whatever, then we will see it when it generates those outputs. You have to wait a minute though. But what we can do is look at the ones we generated before. Okay, so you can see the thickness of the lines around them and stuff. And this other one, the line is a lot thicker. So there you go. Of course, it's actually bigger than that. Here's the actual image. Yeah, and you can save them, and it's still a kind of a sketch. Let's see. Yeah, and so it's not based on my sketch anymore, but it's based on one that was based on one that was based on my sketch before. Something like that. All right, this is a kind of flying machine, and that is another flying thing, but with the shape of a dolphin, and that's also a dolphin. See, it's a kind of flying ship that flies above the water, I think. I guess we'll just upscale 1 and 3 there. I mean, yeah, we'll upscale 1 and 3. You might want to look at this one too. Right? So when we brought in that image, when we brought in the influence of this image, we didn't change the description, right? So you can also do that. And there's a lot of space for a description, so you can do that. But yeah, when you're editing, you have to think about what you're putting in there, so that takes time, right? But you can make a very simple, like just a simple summary description of it and put that there, and that will also work. So, you know, the white hair, gold, yeah, you can say gold crown and wings even, or not, right? And you can have like an intricate ornate costume or something. And you can say it's white and gold, right? And that's a summary of it, and then it's still matching what you have with the image. And if you want it in more detail, it's here. There's a different one. So that's pretty cool. So you'll be able to do that. You can mix things together, remix, right? Make a variation of it, and edit the prompt, and bring in an image, other images. We can add more than one. So when you do that, you can also edit the prompt. So here. So that's another example. We won't do it right now because, as I said, I would have stopped the video a long time ago, right? So we don't want to make it any longer, but I'm giving you the ideas so you can play with whatever you're making in whatever way you want to do that. Yeah, and there was an experiment like this right now with this stuff. This is reminding me of something also from quite a long time ago. I'll pop it up on the screen. Yeah, there we go. I called this image Blonde Babe Riding Space Creature. Okay, it's from Mobius's art. So if we go to his website, yeah, I'll go to, because otherwise here I'm just infringing on his rights, right? Because this is just a clip. It's cut out from that image. So I'll bring up the full one so we can see it on his website, and then you see where this came from. And it may also have inspired Space Babes. Now this is very pixelated, right, and zoomed in. But first we'll pop up the one on the website. Then I'll show what I did on day 9, way back, with Midjourney, on the 9th day, like here. Okay, but first we will go to his website. Okay, so I've Googled Mobius art right here, just for example. You can see a couple things. So there's that bird, like a bird we were talking about. So here it is showing up on Google, right? And then you can go to the website to get more information. So there's one. He's just sitting there on the bird, like riding it. Is it like meditative, like just sitting there on top of it like that, or do his feet actually go down into it in here, right? I'm not sure. And look at this one. You see into the innards of this one, and the different bird, but oh, actually, it's not the innards. There's a yeah, that's this part. Okay, but that's the saddle. So it's actually like a bird, but then it's got these things. So it's also a machine. The machine is made to look like a bird. Okay. Yeah, how Mobius's art influenced video games, right? Okay, so anyway, I'll go and find that one just on his website, because here it didn't just show up, right? So I wouldn't know where to look, but on his site, when I find it, I will share it with you. So anyway, and also you can see here, this is who we're talking about, and he's also known as Mobius, but like the Blueberry Comics has a much bigger readership, right? And then as Mobius, like a pen name, like another name, it's still him, but with that other brand name or name of an artist, he has like there's a smaller following there, but potentially a more passionate one. But we'll just go to his website. Yeah, and there you can see here the same thing, like Mobius pseudonym, which he came to use for his science fiction and fantasy work, and it's also surreal. It's also surrealist too, and it says he's a cartoonist also. There, here it's talking about that style. See, but that was from this post. Psychedelic fantasy surrealist art. That's how they summarized it. See this opinion, right? Because every part, everyone, if you call yourself an artist, you're an artist. You don't have to have produced art, right? Everyone, it's just based on how you identify. And then everyone can also be an art critic, right? So you can talk about it and describe it, and so it's all opinion. So like this, see, the opinion of who wrote this said that he's probably the most important fantasy comic artist, right? And so Mobius is one of my influences, right? And you'll see it in my prompts. If you analyze all the prompts that I've put in to Midjourney, right, then you will see, based on not these ones, right, but based on an analysis of all the text of all the prompts I put in, then you would see his name show up a whole bunch of times. Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking in a list of artists that I have on the computer, and it's saying there Mobius. Yeah, as Mobius, he created a wide range of science fiction and fantasy comics in a highly imaginative, surreal, almost abstract style. Oh, also, Blueberry has always remained his primary source of income, allowing him to fully indulge in his artistic endeavors as Mobius. He admitted that as early as 1979. If an album of Mobius is released, about 10,000 people are interested. A Blueberry album sells at least 100,000. Okay, and you can look more into Mobius. I thought I had a link to his website, and now I don't know where his website is when I look, but I'll find it and just come back to you once I have it. And maybe I wasn't even on his website. Maybe I was on a different website, but I was pretty sure I was on his official website before. See, right? It's all opinion. Here I'm on the Wikipedia page of this artist, Jean Giraud, and like right here, for example, this Italian filmmaker, Federico Fellini, considers he like really admires him. He considers him a great artist, as great as Picasso and Matisse. See, which are some of the modern masters. His Wikipedia page is amazing, right? It's super intense because I was starting to scroll down to go to the end to see if there was like a link to his official website or something. And as I'm scrolling, I'm like, whoa, it's too many pages. It'll take too long to scroll that way. I gotta pull this bar down. And then something caught my eye, and I pointed that thing out to you. But yeah, see that he's so influential. That's why there's so much there. And there was a part about awards and stuff, and it's intense. So check out his page. Well, of course, we'll put the link to it right in the notes. And it may be that I looked at this art on this site. Maybe that's where I actually looked at it. I'm not sure. It's potentially, see, because there's a whole bunch here, and I'm not completely sure. I mean, there it is there. So let's try this. Yeah, I probably just looked at it on this website anyway. So there's the link, as I was saying, there's the link to that image. And if you just go to that site and where they're featuring some art of Mobius like this, you'll be able to see all these. But this link here just goes to that specific one. Yeah, so here we go. Blonde babe riding space creature. That's very pixelated. It's just a little clip zoomed in from this one here. Okay, and that may have inspired the whole Space Babes idea, potentially. Okay, so then if we go to day 9, and then I'll also show there's a little bit more that's been done since, but yeah, there is this, which I made on day 9. There are other ones, but these are just some of the ones I saved, and it would have been Midjourney 3, because that was back in September 2022. This is something else. It's like with the pyramid, it changed and made a statue instead of what you saw before with the pyramid and all that. But anyway, these ones here. So those were created on the 9th day. There was actually a lot more, and I've only saved some there. But then another thing would be this. I clicked on the wrong thing there. So like this one, for example. Well, actually, that's the small, right? Here's the upscale. Okay, so I tried making variations of one small one, and I show a few there, and then I did variations of the upscale, and then those are here. That was just an experiment. So here's 3 different ones, but it's doing weird things with the hands, and that's like an Android thing there. And this hand's all messed up. But that's why you have to make more variations, or say that the hands are perfect, or whatever, right? That's just it was the very beginning, but there's actually a lot more created for that as parts of other things. Oh yeah, right. A good way to show that would be what we saw with the pyramids, which I think I used to put stuff in an experiments folder, but then I realized that experimentation leads to good stuff, so you don't need like another folder for it. It's everything can be art, so I just put it in here directly, or of course in here. But I kind of have stuff that's things I did with Midjourney, so they're all in there. But the point is that we don't really need a subfolder for experiments, and that also made it more complicated to find them. Okay, so yeah, so there's things in here that could become the Space Babes, and some of this is also a variation of some of the stuff that you saw from day 9 also. And you'll see some kind of weird, yeah, like this. You'll see some kind of weird thing with the handles of like a bike or some vehicle. And also these right here, these two are in a different style. If you look at that one and that one, it's because I put a different combination of artists into it than what we were normally doing here. Like these, right? So yeah, you can experiment with putting different combinations of artists together too. And there's this, see, there's a kind of variation of something. The thing with the pyramid, see, this is bringing in a different character from another thing, and combining it, and there's the pyramid and the jungle and the intricate ornate, the golden intricate ornate costume, right? Yeah, so anyway, there is something here with these weird handles of a bike or something that comes up. Yeah, but I was gonna say it would take too long to find it, so we won't look at it. But actually, I found it there, so I will show you. See these handles like from a bike in the golden swimsuit, and see that's that's based on something from day 9. So yeah, I did make this a long time ago, but then started to make variations of it later. All right, and yeah, it can become a whole collection, and also space babes like across the cosmos and different backgrounds and different galaxies and everything. So here, just from this one little picture, right, all kinds of stuff can be created. And I don't know if I made variations using that little image, but we can make it based on this whole thing. Although here you can see that little part of the white at the top, it's like it's an image and then it's photographed or something. See, because the edge, it should just be right on it. But anyway, but we can cut it out. We can do a clip, like my little clip or whatever, because there's like a planet or a moon behind her there too, right? It's in space and you see the stars. So you can take this stuff and then make variations. And maybe some of the stuff that I did with alien landscapes may have also had this influence into it also. So anyway, now here's some credit. This is where it came from. All right. All right. This post also shows quite a bit of his work too. Um, so you might want to look at this too. So I'll put a link to that one also. See here, Artist of the Week, Mobius. Because we found this probably on the Google image search. But there's a whole bunch. Yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch in here. There you can see I've added the links into the notes, and that you can also access these. And here is one of my early cheetahs with pyramids, and like a cheetah in a pool or a hot tub. The pool, see, it's made of rock on the edge here. The pool goes out, but then it seems to just keep going out into the distance. And it's like Midjourney 3. But there's been many images. I've generated over 28,000 now, so we're gonna make a lot more. That's someone else's though. We used the style. This is something else we haven't used. We haven't referenced it yet. This one we just referenced for the first time today. Okay. All right. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Oh yeah, also, if you want to take your art to the next level, you want to master it, you want to take your AI art to the, what's it called? Yeah, go God mode. Go full on God mode. It's aiartgodmode.com.